The Google Pixel 8 Pro is a satisfying showcase for how artificial intelligence is being leveraged in a greater way in our phones, with a smarter, more human-sounding Google Assistant at the helm. Even with a $100 price hike over its predecessor, the Pixel 8 Pro stands out thanks to these AI improvements. At first glance, I think most people would overlook some of the Pixel 8 Pro's subtle design changes, but the changes make it much better to use in the hand. Its design DNA still doubtlessly comes from the Pixel, evident in its camera hump and metal trim. I am drawn instantly to two changes with the Pixel 8 Pro's design. The first involves the phone's new matte finish, which makes it more grippy in the hand. Its slight contrast over the sleeker feel of the glass meets metal construction of the last couple of generations of Pixel phones, so I am delighted by this new change. I am also in love with the bay color option with its lighter bluish hue versus the usual black and white selections. The design choice that makes me skeptical about what's going on here is Google's decision to revert back to a single piece of glass with its triple camera arrangement. I've actually shattered the similar one onto the Pixel 6 Pro, so I was thrilled to see Google addressing it by having two separate pieces of glass with the Pixel 7 Pro. Going back to a single piece of glass makes me leery because it makes the cameras vulnerable. I would definitely suggest investing in a camera cover case. Beyond that, the Pixel 8 Pro's design doesn't look radically different. It feels good in the hand, seems solidly constructed, and features the same IP68 rating, all of the qualities I expect in a premium flagship phone. After spending more time with the Pixel 8 Pro's new temperature sensor, the more I realize it's not as practical to use as other implementations I have seen. The sensor's positioned on the back of the phone just underneath the camera's LED flash. You would think it'd be used to measure your body temperature, which it should do later since Google is seeking out FDA clearance for that purpose. At the moment though, the Pixel 8 Pro's new sensor is meant to measure the surface temperature of the objects. While there are logical reasons to do this, such as knowing if the ground's too hot for your four-legged friends to walk on, I think I'd rely more on common sense for that. Nevertheless, you need to keep the sensor about 2 inches away from what you are measuring. However, you will also need to select what type of material you are trying to measure through the thermometer app, which I suppose is necessary to get a more accurate result. I just can't see the practicality of this, especially when there are laser temperature guns and thermal cameras that could effectively do the same things from the further distances. Take, for instance, phones that have built-in thermal cameras which can measure heat signature from faraway distance. I just don't understand Google's logic behind the temperature sensor, which ultimately feels more like a novel addition than a necessary tool. One of the biggest shortcomings about the Pixel 7 Pro was its display. It simply wasn't as bright as other flagship phone screens. Fortunately, Google's looking to change that with the 6.7-inch 1344 by 2992 Super Actual display of the Pixel 8 Pro, which is rated to reach 1600 nits with HDR brightness and 2400 nits peak brightness. Google's confident about the improvements of its new display, and our benchmark testing reveals it's one of the biggest around. Reaching a peak brightness output of 1526 nits, it nearly matches the iPhone 15 Pro Max's peak output of 1550 nits. Compared to the Pixel 7 Pro, pitiful 927 nits of brightness produced in our testing, the Pixel 8 Pro panel blows its predecessor away. I saw this firsthand when I took the two devices outside to watch a movie trailer, with the Super Actual display being substantially brighter and easier to see. It also helps the Pixel 8 Pro's 120Hz refresh rate gives it that battery smooth look while scrolling through websites and across the interface. The refresh rate scales from 1 to 120Hz, which should help save on battery life. I was skeptical at first, but I have to admit it's a relief that Google improved the display for this new phone. This is where it gets exciting for the Pixel 8 Pro, which further differentiates itself from the standard Pixel 8. On the back, the Pro rocks a triple camera arrangement, a 50 megapixel main camera, 48 megapixel ultra-wide camera and a 48 megapixel telephoto with 5x optical zoom. The biggest change here is ultra-wide camera, which jumps up to 48 megapixels compared to the Pixel 7 Pro's 12 megapixel shooter. That, along with its 5x zoom telephoto lens, are the two main distinctions of the Pixel 8 Pro's camera versus Pixel 8. Of course, this would have been a prime opportunity for Google to extend the range of its telephoto camera, but it's been left to the same 5x telephoto range as it's the Pixel 7 Pro. I am a little bummed by this because the iPhone 15 Pro Max made the jump to 5x zoom as well, so Google no longer holds an advantage over its rival when it comes to zooming. As you could expect, everything about the cameras on the Google Pixel 8 Pro are better, with Google claiming improved low-light photography, sharper selfies, and its best zoom yet. The main camera proves that with this shot of Bethesda Terrace in Central Park, details are plentiful while dynamic range is handled well between the shadows in the trees and the brighter spots where the light's hitting them. Compared to the iPhone 15 Pro Max, I also like how the Pixel 8 Pro image has a higher contrast. Check out the details. Google makes it clear that the Pixel 8 Pro is aimed at pro users with its barrage of AI-assisted camera features. I have tested a bunch of them during my review, and what I am able to conclude here is that all these tools make editing your photos and videos much easier. I am a videographer and know the challenges of editing photos to remove unwanted people from my photos or trying to remove annoying background noise from a video recording. For Google to make the process simple and painless, it's like having a personal editor in my pocket. Similar to the Magic Eraser feature, Magic Editor lets you isolate a subject in a photo and move them almost anywhere in the photo seamlessly. With a few simple swipes and selections, I am able to take a photo of myself and resize it to make it seem I was closer to the camera. Everything looks seamless too, which is what makes Magic Editor incredibly powerful for those who don't have the time or patience to learn these techniques on their own. Alternatively, it's interesting to note what's happening in the background when Magic Editor is being used. That's because Google AI is being leveraged to generate what it thinks should fill in the gaps. For example, I took a picture of my cat sitting on a small ottoman and decided to move him to the nearby sofa using Magic Editor. What's interesting is how Google fills in the gap left between where my cat was sitting. The Pixel 8 Pro generates 3 different options for me to choose from, which all look seamless with its editing. However, I have found oddities in other images I have used Magic Editor on, but so far it at least manages to generate one that seamlessly works with the shot. Another Photoshop-like feature, Best Take, does exactly what it says. If you have ever tried snapping a family photo, you know how hard it is to get everyone to look at the camera properly. Now you won't have to worry because Best Take lets you choose the best faces to use in your photo, so that you can have the best result with happy faces all around. Using Google's AI, Best Take essentially looks at other photos you have captured and offers you options to choose from the selecting each face. Best Take actually works flawlessly with the Pixel 8 Pro. In fact, I didn't notice any distorting qualities whenever I swapped faces for another shot. The only issue I have with the Best Take is that you need to manually take several photos of the same group shot. I wish Best Take could generate different faces based on previously captured photos I have stored in Google Photos, or at least automatically shoot burst photos leading up to me actually pressing the shutter button to snap a photo. No longer do you need to worry about ambient noises in the videos you record because the Pixel 8 Pro can mitigate or eliminate them altogether with Audio Magic Eraser. This new video feature lets the phone analyze a video's audio to discern unwanted sounds in the background, like an alarm going off, so that it can be minimized or completely removed. The end result is a video with only the sounds you want. After trying this out on a couple of videos I shot, Audio Magic Eraser proves most effective when there's only one source of background noise. I tried removing the noise and music in the background of a video I was recording in Central Park, but I can hear how the complex sounds in the video makes it more difficult. As a result, the audio isolation tends to distort my narration in the video. I think casual user would find videos tweaked with Audio Magic Eraser acceptable, but I wouldn't use it for any professional work. Video Boost is a feature that will be coming later to the Pixel 8 Pro. It essentially lets user record raw video before uploading it to the cloud for processing. Video Boost offers enhanced color grading and helps to draw out even more details from the video. While it's nice, I am surprised that all of the processing is done in the cloud as opposed to locally with the Tensor G3 chip. Finally, Google brings proper manual controls to the Pixel 8 Pro. I have been clamoring for this for years now, and I actually like how Google makes it suitable for serious users. Now I have greater control with using the camera because I can make changes to common parameters such as the shutter speed, ISO, color temperature, and more. Small details such as focus peaking show how Google's committed to making the Pixel 8 Pro the camera for pro users. It beats having to download a third-party camera app for manual controls, but I really hope that Google can bring these manual controls to video now that photographers can enjoy them. Video recording still tops out at 4K 60 FPS. I was honestly expecting better given all the hoopla around the power of its Tensor G3 chip. So far, the Galaxy S23 Ultra remains one of the few flagships to offer 8K video recording. Despite this, I appreciate all the other video recording modes that the Pixel 8 Pro has to offer, like Cinematic Pan that adds more stabilization for panning movement. Check out the video sample. You probably know what's in store with Android 14, but I think it's worth mentioning the exclusive features that the Pixel 8 Pro is getting. Visually, the Pixel's interface is familiar if you have been on the Android train for the last couple of iterations of the software, but there's a lot more focus on Google's AI working behind the scenes. For example, Google Assistant is being leveraged in more areas, which is what makes owning a Pixel unique versus other Android phones. Here's what I found really impressive about Google Assistant on the Pixel 8 Pro. This year's additions include enhanced call screening that makes the assistant sound more human when it picks up calls for you. I was actually impressed when using this new feature, as it was almost impossible to tell that I was hearing an AI-generated voice. Not only will the assistant screen calls, it will also provide contextual options that let you choose a response. Think of it like having an actual assistant that picks up phone calls for you while relaying responses to them. If you use grammar check extensions in Chrome like Grammarly, then you are in for a treat with the Fix It feature with Google Assistant. As you scurry to type out passages of text with the keyboard, you will have the option to fix the grammar with the help of the assistant, which will proofread it for you and is smart enough to distinguish common mistakes such as they are, or they are. While it may not be commonly used, multiple language support is especially useful for people who live in households where languages are often mixed. For example, you can dictate messages to Assistant mixing in words from English and Spanish without having to change the default language of the keyboard. Just speak and Assistant will dictate the rest perfectly. Rather than having you toil over reading long passages of text in Chrome or the Google app, the assistant can summarize everything for you by just squeezing the phone, which initiates this summarizing feature. Google Assistant will then analyze the content, then produce a bulleted summary of the most important stuff. These features continue to show the investment behind Google AI, but the best part about the software is one particular promise from Google. It's how the Pixel 8 and 8 Pro are setting the benchmark for all phones with their software support. Google pledges 7 years of software and security updates, ensuring that these phones are given extended life beyond its peers. That's remarkable and should be a reminder for everyone else about the importance of software support. Based on Google's claims, the Google Tensor G3 is supposed to be the most powerful chip that Google has ever created. It's certainly faster than the G2, but it still has a long way of proving its champ against rival chips like Apple's A17 Pro and Qualcomm's Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. I really don't care much about how the biggest machine learning model on the Pixel 8 Pros is 10x more complex compared to Pixel 6. You could argue it's tastefully on display in many of its Google AI assisted features like the neural language response with call screening or how it intelligently cuts background sound with Magic Audio Eraser. However, the Pixel 8 Pro's a baffling mystery because of how it performs with everyday tasks versus the result from various synthetic benchmark tests. I find it buttery smooth navigating around Android 14, complete with smooth transitions and animations. Yet the benchmark scores tell a totally different story. In Geekbench, the Pixel 8 Pro pulls in a score 1699 and 3666 with the single and multi-core tests respectively. The phone beats the Galaxy S23 Ultra in the single-core test, but it's a far cry from matching the numbers posted by the iPhone 15 Pro Max on the multi-core test. There's even a greater disparity testing out its graphic processing power. The Pixel 8 Pro trails the 87 FPS and 92 FPS results posted by the Galaxy S23 Ultra and iPhone 15 Pro Max with 3D Mark. Even worse is the 71 seconds it takes the Pixel 8 Pro to render video with Adobe Premiere Rush versus the much faster 24.5 and 39 seconds it took for the iPhone 15 Pro Max and Galaxy S23 Ultra. Benchmark test aside, I note that Pixel 8 Pro is one of the most responsive phones I have tested this year. Games I ran on the Pixel 8 Pro had decent frame rates that make them playable, so I don't want to totally discredit the Tensor G3's processing power. However, I can't overlook how it trails its rivals in these key areas. Call it an Easter egg, but Google generously fashions in Wi-Fi 7 support with the Pixel 8 Pro. While average person may overlook this feature, it should have great effect for streaming videos or downloading large files. This probably makes the Pixel 8 Pro a bit more feature-proof. However, you will need to upgrade to a Wi-Fi 7 router in order to take advantage of better connectivity. The other area where the Pixel 7 Pro failed to make an impression on me was its underwhelming battery life. With a time of 7 hours and 55 minutes on our battery benchmark tests, it's a far cry from the 10 plus hours its contemporaries are able to achieve. The Pixel 8 Pro's battery gets a minor boost up to 5050 mAh up from the Pixel 7 Pro's 5000 mAh one, resulting in longer battery life in our battery benchmark tests. Specifically, the new Pixel scores a respectable time of 10 hours and 3 minutes, which is a 2-hour improvement over the Pixel 7 Pro's underwhelming time. That said, it still falls well behind from the result posted by the iPhone 15 Pro Max and Galaxy S23 Ultra, both of which pulled in more than 13 hours running the same test. In my real-world use, the Pixel 8 Pro's battery was completely depleted a couple of hours before I normally would go to bed. That's a shock because most flagships I test tend to have between 10% and 15% battery life before I call it in for the night. Additionally, the Pixel 8 Pro is stuck at the same 23-watt wireless charging with the second-gen Pixel stand, while a standard QI wireless charging also remains at 12 watt. This could have been improved, but I'm glad to report that it's pretty speedy with the recharge. A drained Pixel 8 Pro manages to get up to 59% after 30 minutes of charging with its fast charging, which is a consolation for its weaker battery life. I can't stop focusing on how the Pixel 8 Pro is one of the smartest phones I have ever came across. For once, I can confidently say that it's the assistant I need to make my workflow more efficient and streamlined. All of the AI-assisted features in the Pixel 8 Pro reveal how it takes all the complications in our lives and makes them uncomplicated, like how editing photos is a clinch with Magic Editor or how call screen intelligently responds to phone calls. Even better, I am satisfied knowing that the Pixel 8 Pro improves on every aspect over last year's disappointing Pixel 7 Pro. This new Pixel is a far stronger contender in our best phones list, but it's hard to overlook how the competition still beats it in a critical areas such as performance, battery life, and cameras. Honestly, all of those areas have improved here, but the competition still does it better. But at the same time, it's impossible to dismiss how the Pixel lineup continues to undercut the competition in price. You will save a couple $100 by choosing the Pixel 8 Pro over its closest competitors. So in that regard, it offers all the value I had wanted to find in a flagship phone. Really, you won't be disappointed by the phone, especially when it's the only phone that I can confidently count on to answer phone calls for me where I can't.